One of the most entrepreneurial organizations of all time was a music band called the Grateful Dead. I would be very surprised if you guys haven't heard of the Grateful Dead. But many people are unaware of all the different ways that the Grateful Dead were innovative as a band. So traditionally in the music industry, recordings are prevented in concerts. But the Grateful Dead radically changed this. Instead of preventing people from recording concerts, they actually encouraged it. They used the power of free. Right? Remember the power of reciprocity? They used the power of free to get greater loyalty from their customers. When the Grateful Dead would have a concert in San Francisco or Chicago, people would literally follow them around the country to get recordings. Why? Because the more Grateful Dead recordings you had, the cooler you were in their community called the Deadheads. Yes, before Lady Gaga had the Monsters, the Grateful Dead had the Deadheads. Now, the Deadheads were very loyal to the organization, and they proved to be quite a resource in terms of buying products and services. So you can go to your local grocery store and you can get Jerry Garcia ice cream from Ben & Jerry's. You can buy a Grateful Dead tie like the one I'm wearing today. The Grateful Dead found ways to merchandise before anyone else was doing it. And on top of that, the Grateful Dead built service organizations that they then were able to get other bands to use. The Grateful Dead's touring company was one of the most popular touring companies that bands would use to travel across the United States. In fact, the Rolling Stones used the Grateful Dead as their touring company when they would come visit the US. I believe and we have to look this up, but I'm pretty sure this is the fact, I think around $500 million in total revenue was earned by the Grateful Dead and its members over the course of the band's life. That's a tremendous feat for any musical act. And more than that, they were innovators, right? Because while the rest of the industry was selling music, the Grateful Dead was building a community. If you can build a community of customers, you can find ways to then monetize them in many other ways.